Hi friends, I wanted to share with you yet another recent photo walk from downtown Salt Lake City and break down said photos. In this photo walk, there were people rappelling from walls, there were people riding bicycles and skateboards, and also a 747 landed on Main Street. One of those is not true. Here's that photo walk. Okay, here we have a shot of some workers rappelling down the side of the convention center. Very interesting building, very interesting bit of this building. I saw this when I was driving by to park, so I very quickly parked and ran back to that location to take a couple of photos. I started out really far away, took this shot, and then moved in a little closer. I appreciate the action-packed excitement of the people rappelling down the side of the building. I appreciate that you can see them in the middle of doing what they're doing, and I appreciate the geometry of the building itself. I think it creates a sense of narrative and motion that their hands are actually placing and rolling out the signs in the shot. I also think the way the light is hitting the building on the left side works well. In this one, the man is jokingly saying no pictures to me, or I assume it's joking. He didn't throw his bag at me as I continued to take photos, so that's what I felt like was happening. I enjoy the colors. You have the warmish pastels on the windows, and then, of course, the geometry of the windows again. You have the blue sky on the right. There's also the strong tradition in art and photography represented here of having a group of three. And also the guys on the left and right are approximately placed along the lines of a rule of thirds layout. In photography, of course, it's not all about these things, but these things do matter. In this photo, I think the geometry and light are the strong points. I also appreciate how he's sort of gently leaning over and his hand is just grabbing the sign and manipulating it. I think one interesting thing about shooting with a long lens is you will come across compositions that don't naturally find your eye due to the characteristics of that lens. You can use a lens like this to create a dynamic in your photo that you can't get with other lenses, as well as create a cinematic dynamic. I really like this photo, and what we have here are two people who are on their phones, they're focused on one thing, and then we have the girl in the middle who is staring seemingly directly at the camera and is very sort of present. There's a sort of starkness and contrast and intensity to the color and the light as well as the subjects. I like how the girl in the middle sort of sets herself apart and creates this sense of a different type of presence of mind than you're seeing in the other two subjects. To me, it has a very emotionally intense aesthetic to it. With this photo, I stood in one specific spot for a little while and waited for something interesting to come around. I knew that it was a bit of a land of opportunity, but I wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen. I saw the skater coming down the hill, and I had plenty of time to wait for him to put himself in the right position for an interesting photo. I appreciate the separation he has from the background through the fact that he is in a light part and behind him is a shadow. I appreciate how he's directly in the middle of the shot and how he's gently leaning over. The overall scene here is a bit busy in a sense. I like how there are a lot of things going on in this scene in terms of elements, but they don't clash with him due to the way all the elements came together. This has a lot to do with light and his positioning. Sometimes these photos work and sometimes they don't. With this one, we have a guy coming out of a very shadowy area, and it seems like he's either sneezing or coughing. I really like this odd expression, his orange pants and his stride as well. With this scene, I thought about the environment first and waited for the right subject to come into the shot to make it come together. Sometimes lighting situations like this where you have a very stark shadowy bit of the photo are hard to come by. I'm going to remember this spot and this time of day. I think the geometric quality of things here also help out. To me, this photo feels just a tad painterly, if you will. With this scene, I hung around for a while, focused on this older man, and waited for the right moment to happen. I think the type of shooting I was doing here helped in this situation because I was far enough away that I was not intrusive to him. I was able to allow him to remain uninterrupted and continue to do whatever he was naturally doing, which is what I wanted. I captured a few shots here, and compositionally I wanted to work the fountain into the shot, and one I got down really low and shot straight through the edge of the fountain, which I thought provided for an interesting aesthetic. Something that was helpful here is that he was sitting in a pocket of light which made him stick out. It took a scene that was very busy in terms of elements and made it come together. I really hope he enjoyed his yogurt or pudding or whatever that was. Or drugs. Could have been drugs. I'm sure this older man who looks very friendly could have gotten away with a lot in broad daylight. Anyway. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Goodbye.